Hi everyone, I'm Melissa Dudon. Welcome to Trending Vegas. We're talking about the major trending stories you're seeing on your social media channels. I'm joined by a portion of our city's social media team, including Jennifer Davies and Shane Savanapriti.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And today our guest is local Vegas blogger Ivana Jorgensen. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, I follow Ivana on Instagram, and I love the fact if you look at her pictures, you actually incorporate downtown a lot into what you do. What do you love about downtown?
I love the vibrancy, the color. I love the history. I'm born and raised in Vegas, so downtown is really special to me.
Okay, it's not very often that you get a born and raised person, you know. You guys are far and few between, but we're happy to have you. So one of the things I thought was interesting about you is that you work with your husband on your blog and your Instagram posts. He's actually, you're looking at these pictures of her, he's your photographer.
Yep, he is. I wouldn't have even started if it weren't for him doing the photos. I never felt confident behind the camera, and he kind of brought that out of me.
What's it like? Do you guys fight?
We fight all the time. Yeah, we actually fight all the time. I've talked about doing like little segments where I record us fighting, and it might actually make me a nicer person, but I haven't gotten to that yet.
And what is it like right now with keeping up with the blog and social media and, you know, getting paid by companies? What's that like for you?
It's actually crazy. I used to follow a lot of bloggers and influencers, and I always thought, gosh, it would be so cool to be able to do that, to get paid to share products and things that you love. Now I actually get to do it. It's a little surreal. I still work full time, so I try to make as much time as possible for that on the side.
Yeah, and it takes, as we've learned from all the other guests we've had, it takes a lot of time to keep up with social media,
Yeah,
a blog, and then a full-time job.
It is. It's another full-time job, yeah.
Well, we love what you do, and thanks for
Thank you.
being here.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I want to start with the topic that affects Las Vegas directly, and that is an announcement of a new business called Hop, Skip, Drive. Basically, it's like an Uber for kids, but it's not Uber. Let me just clarify that. So here was their announcement. They came to Las Vegas. It says, hey, Vegas, we're so excited to get rolling in your city. Want to hit the road with us? Visit our website to apply to become a care driver or sign up your kids for rides. Of course, Channel 13 says 13 investigates rideshare for kids, safe solution or risky choice. Then we have some people chiming in. Already have this in California. No one knows about after a year. Clearly not that important. And then this person tweets, no, wouldn't do it. And then we have this one. We've had a tremendous first week in Las Vegas, and we're excited for the amazing growth opportunities there. I thought this was interesting. I am a mom of two, and this makes me nervous. It makes me very, very nervous. So, Ivana, let me start with you. What do you think of this?
It's a no for me. I wouldn't do it, wouldn't put my kids on it. No.
Why not?
I barely trust Uber. As it is, it's always a scary situation being with someone you don't know. You don't know where they're going to take you. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. So for my children to be alone with them, I couldn't.
Right. I mean, it is scary. I did some research on them, and they do have some things in place where you always know where the driver's going through the app. There are, code words you get to use with the kids, and it helps with foster kids, getting them to school. The county has really embraced them. Shane, Jen, what are you guys thinking about this? What are you seeing?
It's tough. I mean, as if you're a single parent especially, this is an extra hard decision, but, some people have to put their careers on hold or dial back or not put their child in certain activities that they would want them in because they don't have that ability to transport them. They've got to work. So it's a valuable service, but finding the people to trust them. The CEO of Hop, Skip, Drive actually made an interesting statement. She said, how well do you really know your bus driver?
I could think maybe if my child was a little bit older and it was an emergency and I needed to get them to an important basketball game or something that I didn't want them to miss, but I guess we live in a society where if somebody wants to hurt your child, it doesn't matter how many background checks they have, they will. But then there are a lot of good people in this world who are really just there to help. Jen, what are you seeing on social and your thoughts?
Well, I'm a terrible parent. I would totally do it. And
you're not a terrible parent. There are so many people that are like you.
We talk about this all the time. Everybody has different perspectives. I appreciate anyone who helps me with my kids. So our family drives them around. They're in car seats. I'm like, what are you going to do? I need the help. We work really long hours here at the city. We work 4 10s. My daughter is 4.5. She won't be able to be in activities if it isn't for having the assistance of having someone drive her to places for after school practices and whatever. So, I mean, maybe not at 4.5 with car seats,
Right.
but I can see when she's 9, 10, 11, like when she's older, like definitely taking advantage of something like this.
Well, and you got to think in that perspective as well. I mean, you have nannies that come and go. It's really no different than if you need the neighbor to pick up your child. How well do you know that neighbor? So I can completely understand that perspective, and I actually think this is one of those things that people are going, but a year from now, I might be downloading this app and going, hey, can you come pick up Nico? Thanks.
I think we all thought the same thing about Uber when it first came out.
Yes.
A lot of people did, and it's now, you know, one of the most highly valued companies in the world. It's completely changed our economy, and so I think that we'll see maybe more of this in the future. And I was encouraged by the information that they have on the website. The CEO is a mom. That's why she founded the service. So I do think their heart's in the right place. You know, do you want to be one of the very first people that's trying it? Like, maybe not. But I think over time, they'll iron out any kinks that they find.
Yeah.
And hopefully this can be a real solution for working parents.
It's going to be interesting how this plays out and see if, you know, maybe some companies start using them and paying that bill. So we will see. All right, guys, next we have to talk about the tragic Australian fires that continue to destroy miles and miles of that area. Here's some of the things we're seeing on social. We have this one. Animals usually run away from man, but in Australia now, animals are running to man, as if saying this is your doing, but also you're the only one who can help. More than 450 million animals have died so far. Our hearts and prayers are with you. And then you have videos like this. Kangaroos leave the forest and find refuge in the cities. This is outside people's homes in Australia. I thought that this was really interesting. This map right here shows you just how vast the fires are with this 3D visualization. And then, of course, we've all seen videos like this over and over and over again. This just breaks my heart. I just don't even know. It's just so much. It's so much to look at. But you guys, I want to talk about giving and fundraising for this right now, because my feeds are being bombarded with donate here, donate there. And I think we always have to remember, in a time like this, people prey on portions like this. And just with social media, I'm finding it now that I don't trust GoFundMe pages. I would prefer to go to a direct organization. What are y'all's thoughts on this? Shane, let me start with you.
Well, social, I mean, this is really showing the power of social media. Fundraising for this Australian fire has been insane. Celeste Barber, she's an Australian comedian. She raised $32 million on Facebook. She's got a great Instagram where she does, like, she takes celebrity photos and recreates them in her own style. She's very funny, but you know, there's also these movements. The sex workers are fundraising on Twitter. That's been a huge deal.
They've made a lot of money doing it too.
They've made a lot of money in a very short amount of time. There's a UNLV running Rebel on the basketball team. He's from Perth, Australia. He's been raising money, shooting three-pointers. So social media, this is really where social media, you can tap into the power of these networks. You can get a lot of money really quickly, and a lot of people want to give because this is just an amazing tragedy with all this diversity, the people displaced, the air quality. I mean, there's just so much going on with that fire.
Do we know, I mean, I've read so many different things. Obviously, they're in a drought, and it's making it worse, but they're also saying that this is some man-made stuff as well as lightning strikes, just a plethora of everything.
It's a
Have they
perfect
said for
storm.
sure what it is? We're still trying to figure it out. Ivana, what do you think about everything that's going on in Australia right now?
I think it's devastating. Even thinking about, I can't watch those videos that you put up. I just remember the first time I saw them, I broke down crying, and right away I was looking for ways to donate. Like you said, I wasn't sure who to donate to, so it was a relief when I was able to put a message out there on social media. I got bombarded with responses of links to trustworthy places to donate. Ended up choosing Red Cross.
So you actually went to your followers and said
Yes.
who is the right person. And do you trust your followers enough to give you that kind of good information?
I do. I do have followers that live in Australia, so I know they're more savvy with
Right.
the right organizations and where the money's going to go from those organizations. So I did trust them.
Jen, what are you thinking?
That was something that was surprising to me too. You don't think about the cultural divide of understanding nonprofit organizations outside of the United States. And so I think that this has really brought into light, and it makes it easier for people to prey on Americans especially and wanting to help, because we don't know what the leading nonprofits are over there. So I think it's a good lesson here too to remember when there's a big tragedy here to help the public feel validated that these sources have been kind of vetted out without having to intimately know what nonprofits you can give to.
Right, absolutely. So just do your research before you just decide that to go with one person, maybe an organization, vet them definitely. All right, guys, we have to talk about the royal crisis, as it's being called on social media, after the Duke and Duchess of Sussex announced they were stepping back as senior royals. You guys, I'm here for it. So let's go and look at some of the tweets. I'm here for
Very
it.
excited.
The decision by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to step back from royal duties is an indictment of the British press and the latest sign the couple don't want to play the game anymore. Here it is. She is that in-law in your family that everybody hates, but everybody acts nice to keep the peace. And then we have one person writing, poor Queen, I feel for her. Absolutely right. If they're not going to accept their duty, they shouldn't get any of the privilege. This one was hilarious to me. Meghan Markle walking away from the palace. I mean, it just goes on and on. Always leave a person, place, job, etc. that doesn't serve your mind, body, and soul, regardless of what anyone thinks. Protect your spirit. We support you. And then, of course, the funny ones came out. New year, new us. Just so funny. So, I'm torn on this, you guys. I really feel like you got to do what's best for your family. That's where I'm coming from. So if whatever the underlying things may be, if it's protecting his family or, Meghan Markle's not happy or, whatever, okay, you do you. But do you know you're signing up for this when you marry the prince? Or was the media just overly harsh on Meghan Markle? I mean, they've been not great to her. So I don't know. I'm here for it. I just want to know all about it.
So
Jen?
BuzzFeed put out a really interesting article that compared headlines between Meghan Markle and Kate Middleton.
Actually,
and it was pretty shocking to see what the difference was in how they portrayed both of them. And
This
so
isn't BuzzFeed, but this is from the Daily Mail. Same thing.
Yeah,
It was
same kind of thing where they're
talking about-
comparing.
Yeah.
And it is shocking when you see it side by side to realize that Meghan Markle really did face an uphill climb, and I do think that she vastly underestimated what it would be like.
Yeah. So Shane, your thoughts?
What's interesting to me is that they released their initial statement on Instagram. And so the way the royal family has to communicate is they have a royal rota, which is the kind of vetted and approved certain publications, media outlets that they can send information to. You can't post anything to your Instagram before it goes to them, and you can't go on, everything's got to go to them first. That's kind of the deal that the royal family has worked out. So this is, we found this in government a lot, a way to sidestep traditional media. In the past, we used to have to go to the television stations, the newspapers to get our message out. With the rise of social media, Instagram, Twitter, and all those things, we can communicate directly to the people. And so I think this shows the power of social media. They can step away from that royal rota and say, look, we can communicate directly to the people we want to communicate with. We're going to put out our statement on Instagram and sidestep all these gatekeepers, and that really opens up messaging. But at the same time, the royals kind of grew up in this life. I feel bad for Meghan. I don't know if she knew what she was getting into.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you don't. I can't. I'm over here in Las Vegas. I have no idea what she's going through. Ivana, what do you think?
I think it's really interesting that they did put it out on Instagram. It's kind of like step one,
Yeah.
for their new life, just being regular people. Any normal person would just put out their news on Instagram. I'm for it. I love it. I think it's awesome that they just want to make this change.
Do you think that? I know they came out and the Queen is saying, I want to support them. We're going to implement this. I wonder what. I don't know if you guys saw this. This one was funny. Maybe I'm just a dumb American, but a married 35-year-old moving out of his grandma's house and getting a job sounds like a good thing. So, do you think Prince William and Prince Harry are getting along right now? Do we know? What are you thinking? What are you seeing on social?
I think no. I mean, we always look at it from a PR perspective. Rumors don't come out of nowhere usually. There's usually some truth to what they're saying. Whether the media always gets it right, of course they don't. But the rumors have persisted for a really long time. And you can kind of get it from William's perspective, right? He's going to be king. Siblings traditionally have played really strong roles in the monarchy and supporting the reigning monarch to do tours and take meetings and whatever. So I can see from his perspective how he feels like, hey, that's great. You're going to leave me here to do this all by myself. But then I can also understand being in that limelight position where you're always in the shadows.
Well, you're losing your mom to the press as well.
That too. And so all those things considered, he wants his own life. He's always been pretty clear about that if you go back and look at old media articles. So good for him, I think.
It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, especially their time here in the States, what they do here. Okay, guys, really quickly, I want to get to this last topic. We have to talk about the Oscar nominations. A lot of people upset because no female directors were nominated. Here's a look. Another year of Oscars, another year with no female directors in the running. As we head into the 92nd Academy Awards, only 5 women have ever been nominated for Best Director. It goes on and on and on. And then Time's Up released a statement. That's going to be kind of hard to read, but not a single female director nominated. The hashtag #OscarsSoWhite started trending. And so, Shane, I really want to hear from you in this because you come from LA,
I've been to the Oscars.
Oh, wow, fancy.
Fun fact about
fancy.
Shane.
Fun fact. So what do you think, Shane, about this no nominations? I love Little Women, by the way, so know your audience.
I mean, it's disappointing because, in 92 years, only 5 women nominated, only one person ever won, Catherine Bigelow for Hurt Locker. Only one woman of color nominated in any acting category this year. The Star of Harriet. So they're losing audience on their televised awards show. They're getting hit by Oscars So White, and the Me Too movement. Like they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
So it's not a good look. Like whether they're trying to go on the merit or not, it's just not a good look. They've had a rough 3 years, so get it together, guys. Greta Gerwig would have been a great choice for Little Women, and also the director of Hustlers. I mean, she could have easily gotten a nod. There were a lot of snubs.
Yeah, Ivana, what are you thinking?
I agree, especially with Little Women. Queen and Slim was such a good one, and everything you said, I 100% agree. I mean, why they would continue to do this when they already have such a bad rap, I don't understand.
Yeah, Jen, what are your thoughts before I say?
I mean, I think it's like you hope that they have those internal discussions and maybe it's something like, well, we don't just want to give people merit because it's not as good, but I just don't think that's true. There's such a diverse offering now of directors of both genders and all skin colors that you would think that they try to be a little more cognizant of it.
Yeah, I sit back and I go, I want the people who do the best job to be nominated.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I want. I don't even know how they decide. Shane, do you know how they decide this?
How they put together their list?
Yeah.
The Academy votes on it, so they send out all of the screeners to all the Academy members. The Academy members supposedly watch them all and then pick.
Right.
But yeah, the people I've known
But is
that are
this
in the
kind of like
Academy
college
don't.
football rankings where they only watch the East Coast teams because
Yeah.
the West Coast teams
Yeah,
they're sleeping
Right.
And like who's on
by
the
the time those
Academy?
games are over?
Exactly.
I've met very few people that actually watch all the movies that they're supposed to, and then the Academy is mostly white men. So
See, and that is just, for me, it just loses
maybe
credibility.
you start there.
Right, and I don't want to take away, an Oscar is a big deal for those in the industry. You don't want to start taking that away from people when you lose the credibility of being diverse and including everybody. So that's really interesting. Ivana, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, you may have noticed some amazing changes taking place downtown. It's all part of what we're calling Project Enchilada, and we'll tell you about it when we come back.